Hello everyone, welcome to our introduction to instructional technology. Sometimes we often view technology through the lens of devices or tools, but its real value is in the science engineered to maximize human potential and learning. So in this course, we will look past the screens, the tools, and explore how strategically design experiences um, truly transform uh, education. So this unit explores instructional technology means, what instructional technology means, why it matters, and how it has evolved to transform education for every learner. My name is Chukwemeka Emeka Joshua, an educational technologist, and I will be guiding you through this course. Enjoy the ride. So, Unit 1, what is instructional technology? According to Association of Educational Associations and Technology, it says that the theory and practice of designing, developing, using, managing, and evaluating processes and resources for learning. In simple terms, it is a systematic application of tools, method, and psychology to help people learn better. Anywhere, everywhere, either using the screen technology tools or actually the process, depending on the process that mediates the learning. I will not forget to let you know that instructional technology is a subset of educational technology. Educational technology, in the broader terms, oversees the management of both human and non-human resources. Whereas some scholars use instructional and educational technology interchangeably. So we look at the three pillars of scope. What are the scope of instructional technology? So instructional technology covers three main broad areas, and understanding this helps teachers to be intentional, evidence-based, and be intentional and make evidence-based decisions. So the first one is behavioral technology. This is the application of principles of psychology to shaping learning habits, reinforce positive behaviors, structure feedback loops, and support retention and motivation. So this is what we call the science part of it that has to do with the behaviors or the psychology of learners, and this is actually the part where the learning theories come into, of which whether digital or different learning processes adopt. So we have the instructional delivery, which deals with the techniques, the pedagogy, how media is, how lessons are being organized, whether with media or without media, the organization of contents logically, or the scaffold understanding, and how learners are being guided towards achieving the learning outcomes of a particular lesson. And third scope, we have the learning environment, which is the design of the physical and digital spaces where the learning interaction goes on, either either interactively, collaboratively, or even talking about the inclusion, where you have an environments that meet different diverse learning needs, which enables students to engage deeply with content and each other. Look at why does instructional technology matter? Why is instructional technology the priority for every teacher, every educator today? So number one, it boosts engagement. And how does instructional technologies boost engagement? When we have learning experiences that apply gamification, for example. Gamification is the using of game elements in a non-game context. So you see that when students interact with game elements, even when learning, it keeps them engaging. You can have interactive quizzes that actually have behaviors that communicate with the learner within as it moves from one sequence to the other. We have video contents that capture attention far more effectively than lectures, which are text-based, and this keeps learners motivated and involved. The second one is enables personalized learning, where today we have adaptive platforms that automatically adjust its difficulty or learning pace to match the student's preferences, whether strength, weakness, or learning style. Some of those learning platforms also can, depending on the activity of the learner, recommend courses or reset difficulty levels for the learner. The third is breakdown of barriers. With technology, we have remote learning in play today, where you can reach people in different locations, places where learning, or what we call undeserved rural communities. And we have what we call the assistive technology, which has opened doors for students with special needs who otherwise would have been excluded from learning today. Then the fourth one, we have support educators. Teachers can share effective lesson plans, collaborate across institutions through different collaborative means, and use performance data that is actionable, live data, or to make actionable decisions for continuous improvement to their instruction. And lastly, but not limited to this, we have prepares the workforce. Today, with instructional technology, we can build digital literacy and problem solving skills that in students, which they need to thrive rapidly in this current dispensation, where technology is what is driving the job market today. So when we look at social technology, it has its emergence have taken over some centuries, and we could see along the line how tools has evolved and ideas have reshaped how we think about teaching and learning. When we look at the 1960s, 1930s, where we have the mass media form, the educational film, radio broadcast, where people learn through such means, and that's what we call the mass media era. We talk about the 1950s, where we have the educational television program that expanded access to that quality contents, especially for children. And just like when we have our local stations and you see children sitting over there to listen to different academic, the mathematics, English sections. Those days where we have time slots for those academic programs. We come to the mid 20th centuries, where programmed instructions are being introduced, small different learning models that require immediate feedback to reinforce learning. These program instructions are actually built on the behaviorism theory of the B.F. Skinner. Then we have 1960, where Benjamin Bloom published the Taxonomy for Educational Objective, which actually classified learning into cognitive learning, starting from remembering to the creating level. And look at the late 20th century, the advent of computer technology, electronic whiteboards, where we begin to have the early online courses being accessed through the internet. And today we are seeing the emergence of visual reality, AI powered tutors, blended learning forms, then analytics, which has actually reshaped and redefined how we see learning today. So it has been a quite progressive journey with different experiences as we transition. So some of the key milestones that shape the field. Earlier we talked about B.F. Skinner and the program instruction. B.F. Skinner works IBFC is actually the propounder of the behaviorist theory, and it is what demonstrated how immediate feedback and incremental steps improve learning outcomes. Suppose that underpins the adaptive learning software space today, and we look at Bloom's taxonomy around 1960s, um, which is the diagram we have. The first taxonomy was in the noun form by Bloom's in 1956. One of his students um, transformed it to the verb form in 2001, where we have the from remembering to the creating level, which is the highest order. So this gave educators a shared language for designing lessons that develop higher order thinking. So exactly where are we going to? And that's why we look at the future. So what does the future hold? So we look at the virtual augmented reality. This talks about more of immersive classrooms where students can explore places where they are limited to by time and space. For example, museum or some archaeological sites, and through this also you can see a real representation of visuals in their width and space. For example, they can explore the ancient Rome, dissect visual frogs, or that means visual and augmented reality can be used for medicine, practical surgeries without any casualty. So, and today we have seen these VR lenses, which mostly are used for gaming, but today they are being used for learning too. We have the artificial intelligence, and the advent of this has also helped deep dive learning. And actually, today we have AI powered tutor which has personalized support. You can ask any question at any time and you'll be responded to. So we also have chatbots that act as teaching assistants and helps answering questions instantly. And that part is the machine learning that has algorithms that uses its algorithms to predict different situations and in students learning, and also recommend target interventions. We have the area of learner analytics, which is the real-time tracking of student performance, which allow educators and lecturers to identify gaps, also celebrate progress, and adjust instruction on the go. This helps to turn data into actionable insights for every learner. We also have the blended learning, which combines both the traditional teaching method, which is the face-to-face, and the online, which is the technology. And all these future projections, which we are in the now, is already improving students. So I've seen how it has improved student outcomes across diverse educational context. So there's nothing good that doesn't come with challenges, and we have some challenges of and limitations of instructional technology. And when we recognize these challenges, we also can be able to articulate steps to address them. So one of them is the digital divide. You begin to have unequal access to devices and these technologies. For example, there are some areas where we have unreliable internet or no internet. So these are part of what has made some areas, which we call the rural communities, to be left behind. We also have the case of resistance to change. There are many scholars, many educators who still lack training or the confidence in integrating of these new tools. Some also resist integrating it, and maybe be due to some religious beliefs or stuff, or because of the the lack of confidence, the lack of even sponsorship to be able to do these trainings. We have privacy and ethics. So student data, the data that has been collected by this platform, how are they protected? Because any misuse of data can cause serious ethical and legal concern. So we also have the issue of over-reliance on technology, especially today where you see any little thing people run to AI. So this can actually pose a challenge of deep thinking. People don't do. You see students lacking critical thinking ability, and which there is a fear that many this could diminish many valuable interpersonal skills when we excessively depend on this digital tool. And lastly, but not the list is inexhaustive. For the last here, we have the variable content quality. Sometimes we have poorly designed materials which can bring confusion to learners and also undermine the goals of to which technology is meant to support. And having these are challenges we see every day that affect instructional technology. Addressing these challenges, we could look at three pillars that can be addressed in three forms. We have what we call the equitable access policies. So when government and institutions invest in infrastructure and the different access policies or device program, this can ensure that every learner have tools they need. Some of these rural area can have infrastructure like the internet facility installed for free, where they can be accessed at any time. They can have devices also which can enable students to have their own learning experience at any time of the day. We have second one is comprehensive teacher training. Now, in as much as we have the technology explosion, we also need to have daily constant like the teacher development training. So professional development must be ongoing. It must be practical, not just the theoretical aspect, and supportive, helping educators to build confidence in technology. So when we have this training, you see that the acceptance of technology becomes easier. And here, number three, we have the strong ethical standard. So there should be clear data governance frameworks and ethical guidelines to protect students while enabling the benefit. So, if we have strong ethical standards, everybody using these technologies, even supplying their information, will be safe and feel free that with the assurance that their information have been are in safe hands. So this ethics is what guides the way the information, the student information, are being used. So as we come to the end of this, we have different links for your reading. For if you want to look at the overview of instructional technology, how it can improve learning process, and even when we look at the Bloom taxonomy, we'll look at with this we come to the end of this particular this unit, and things we need not to forget. In summary, instructional technology is science, not just comprising of tools. Instructional technology is a systematic evidence-based approach to improving how people learn, grounded in theory, psychology, and design. We also look at the area of its importance, where we have the engagement and personalization. We see that it transforms passive learning into active participant, tailoring experiences to individual needs, strengths, and pace. And we have the case of equity, what's the essentiality. So to truly succeed, we must close the divide, we must close the gap between those that know and those that don't, by investing in teacher training and upholding strong ethical standards for all learners. So if you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section. Also, will be there to reply. So if you have actually learned from this presentation, don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. See you in the next class. Thank you.